It should be going. Let me just check and tweet, and then we'll be good to go. We're good to go. To
Good to
dance.
go.
Hello, Internet. I am Lost Wolf, and this is the Twinstiq podcast. And I have faithful regulars with me, and faithful regular number one is Yoda. Say hello.
Hello, I am Yoda, but I don't talk like him, and don't ask.
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't. And I also have Scroodus with me. Say hello.
Hello, guys, and gals, and internets, and
We don't know which episode this is. We've lost track.
I
It's just the
think
next episode at this point.
this is 29.
that's
I
what I
think
was
so,
going to
too.
say. I think you're right.
We're
you're
almost
That's
at
what
30. Yeah.
One more week and we'll be at
One of these days, we'll learn to check what episode it is before we start.
No, that would be being professional. Why would we do that?
No, we can't have any of that crap.
Striving for betterness.
Right, so we are gonna start off with the usual, which is what everyone's been playing. So let's talk about that.
Which
Who wants
is
to go
it's been games mainly. I've been playing a few games.
That's good. Would
Games,
you
yeah.
like to be a little more specific? No?
No, you have to guess. Guess.
Games you're playing for
Yes.
$500.
Let's start with some positives. I've been playing more Marvel Heroes.
Okay.
Been really enjoying that game. I got my Iron Fist.
And you've been recording a little bit too, haven't you?
Actually, no, I have not. I should probably start doing that again. I
Yeah,
did.
no,
I did
I'm
record
using-
a little bit with Jason
With
over
Scooter.
there. Yeah.
Right, yes.
I showed him the game, and now he is way more of an expert on it than me. I'm sure you're also
I
been
saw-
playing it.
Yes.
I saw-
why don't- give me some of your impressions, because when we talked about this on the podcast a while ago, when
You
we
were
were
like,
looking at it, we were like, "Holy crap! This is gonna be a really like free to play money grabby crap." Thing.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, I don't know, I guess it was probably a month or so back when we first looked at it and we were like, no way, dude, we're not going to play this. It's like $60 to buy people and play the game, but it's totally not like that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
it's
how it
very
was
friendly.
maybe around 3 years ago, back in the alpha when the game first came out, because it was getting
Yeah.
blasted terribly, and I remember people
was.
saying that
No
it
one
was
liked
like
it.
a really unfair system, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
then I'm not
No
touching
one
that with a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that immediately turned me off of it, and I didn't look at it again until well, after the last podcast. Within a day I had downloaded it, and I'm like, dude, this game is fun.
Yeah,
It's
Right.
it's really cool. I mean, you play their model is really cool. You don't have to spend any money unless you want to.
yeah.
All it takes is a little bit of patience, basically, and then you can get
Right.
every
Like,
character.
Hardly
is
before
unlockable
I
for-
even unlocked a single character, I had 2 unlocks at the ready, like. So
Yeah,
I was
right.
still able to play like all 70 characters or whatever to level 10, and then I could decide, okay, well, I want to unlock these 2. I ended up
Yeah.
doing Punisher and Iron Fist, even though I haven't played everybody. But
Yeah, I played, I don't know, probably 10 or 11 before I decided to go with Captain Marvel, and
gosh, she's so much fun.
yeah, dude, she's got. You know what I like is that every character seems to have a pretty good balance of melee and area effect.
Yeah, and it
range
totally depends
skills.
what tree you goes down too. Like Cyclops is, a pew-pewy character, but there's a whole nother tree where all he does is summon in X-Men characters. Like you saw that in the
Yeah.
stream where he was just summoning an angel. Apparently, that keep going down the tree. You can summon in Kitty Pryde and all these other people that just do your dirty work, and it sounds fucking
Yeah,
hilarious.
because he's the leader, right? That's
Yeah,
what he
yeah, yeah.
does. So
He's
it
the leader
totally
of
makes
X-Men.
sense. It's awesome.
Yeah,
And,
everyone's abilities completely make sense to the character that they are in the comic books, which is
yeah, and
awesome.
I'm gonna tell you, dude, that the ultimate powers are really cool.
Yeah, that's why I used one of my experience boost drops that the game had given me to try to get Iron Fist up a little bit higher, a little
Yeah,
faster.
and
this morning.
isn't that cool, right? They give
Mm-hmm.
you these reward chests for completing events, and they just have like awesome stuff in them.
Yeah,
Like,
usually
the
stuff
epic
like
gear.
that is exclusive to people who go, all right, I'll give you $5 so I can level a little faster. But they're like, no,
Right.
here you go, have it. Level
Yeah, they're-
faster,
they're-
please do it.
They have no problem with you spending all your time on leveling because it's or almost no time on leveling, I should say, because
Yeah.
every mob you complete, like they drop these orbs, and at my level, I'm level 57 or 58 now.
Good
60.
lord.
You level really
that was
fast in that.
fast.
You level
Yeah, it's
really,
very
really fast
fast.
in that game.
They drop experience orbs all over the place, and they're each worth at my level something like 70 or 80,000 experience apiece.
So wait, how long does it take to get to 10? Because the whole point is that
You're level 10 within probably
30
45 minutes.
I wouldn't even say
Wow.
that, dude. Like I
Yeah.
had gotten 3 characters level 10 in under 2 hours, I think.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's not hard at all.
No.
Okay.
And I think they do that because they want you to play through them.
Yeah, they want you to try all the heroes, and I was like, well, I'll probably have to. I was a little daunted at first. I was like, it's going to take me so long to find someone that I like. And the first character I played was Punisher, and I was like, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
and then I
Okay,
don't
so,
remember who I
so
tried
tell
after
me
that.
something. The way the system probably works is you get like little ults, and then you get a big ult at the end, right?
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah,
it depends on your tree. There's tons of different people. Some people get their really cool special ability within their tree at like level 6 or 7, but
Okay.
everyone gets their big ultimate at level 52.
Right. They have
Okay.
like, you have your basic skills, and then your more powerful skills, and then you have a signature skill,
Okay.
and then you have an ultimate power.
Okay.
And for Captain Marvel, like her signature skill, I can't remember what it's called. It's like Cosmic Radiance or something like that.
Makes
Right.
sense.
And she basically goes supernova.
That's pretty cool.
She stands.
It wrecks everything in the screen.
Yeah, it's just like this pulsating AOE that just
Wow.
ruins everything around her, right? But that's not even her ultimate power. Her ultimate power, she flies into the air and summons a star, and just destroys everything. and the after effect is that 30 seconds afterwards, all your powers are increased by 1 level for 30
that's
seconds.
neat. That is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds like a load of fun.
Yeah.
The way it sounds to me is that in order for you to actually check out a hero, because like you said, you can get them to level 10. You can get every hero to level 10.
Yeah.
What they would do is at level 10, they would give you something nice to play with, just so that you could see, okay, this guy is worth, leveling up to 60.
Yeah, well, you get a pretty damn good idea of the systems and mechanics of every character. I think even by level 5. If I don't like someone by level 5, I just swap.
Oh,
over.
right. Then you swap over.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, because your powers are basically variations on what they first give you.
Yeah. Usually,
Right.
if I level someone to 10, it's because I want to level them past that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go back to Captain Marvel real quick. Like her first melee ability is called Mighty Punch, right? That's just melee attack, and you can level it up as you go. And I think, it increases in damage, and eventually you're doing, I don't know. By the time I was level 40 something, I was doing like 8,000 damage per hit or something like that. But later down the line, I think around 48 or so, you get an ability called Photon Punch, which is leveled up from that. And then now it's like level 30, and it does like 30 or 40,000 damage per hit, right? So it's just basically it's just a step up as you go.
Yeah. Right.
It's a lot of fun. I totally recommend it. I was talking it up last night at the Pathfinder group. I think I have like everyone interested in buying it and picking it up.
Good. Yeah, it's
good because
it's a very fun game.
As you mentioned, it really, when it came out the gate, no one was interested because of the way it was set up.
Yeah, and I think that also speaks to the team's response, right? Because people were complaining, so they went, okay, maybe we're doing something wrong. And
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what you want to see in a game that's in alpha.
Yes.
You want to go, okay, well, no one's fucking playing our game, so what do we need to change? And they came up with a great system, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I mean, because there are definitely things that you can spend money on. Costumes.
There's a billion things you can spend money on, but
you can also
unlock. Like I was able to unlock a team up hero pretty early on. Like I got Agent Venom, which was the reason I wanted to play the game, because I was like, oh, Agent Venom, what's a team up hero? I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to play as him. You can't, but he's my sidekick now. And every character that unlocks the team up ability, I just have them run around with Agent Venom.
Right, because every item is account bound. It's not per player or not per.
Okay, so one other question is, are there things that you can only buy through money?
I don't know.
Costumes.
No, because you could still earn the blue credit system to get those.
Well, that's money.
Yeah, but how come I have like
G?
75 of those? I've never bought any of them.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't earned any
Well,
of those.
they probably give you little amounts for doing things,
Yeah,
and then
probably.
that's
That's entirely possible. I've got 2 costumes now. I've got one for Captain Marvel, and the
cool.
other point. The other point coming through this was that they give you login rewards every day when you log in, they just give you random things.
Yeah.
And to celebrate the release of Daredevil Season 2, everyone got a free unlock for Daredevil.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
If you log in again, too, it's crazy because if you've already gotten your free Daredevil, they give you a token that upgrades his ultimate ability.
Yeah.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
They're just such. It just seems like such a friendly play system. I really I like it a lot. And there are bad reviews all over Steam for it. Oh, this game sucks. It's terrible. And it's
really?
not true.
I haven't looked at any of their reviews and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna pull them
No,
up,
you
though.
did because you read them out the one week. Remember?
Oh, I suppose I did. I don't remember
You
doing.
did, and we were laughing about them because they're like,
Yeah.
"I have 1,000 hours in this game."
I heard it.
That's right. Yeah. I do remember that now. Okay, these are the guys
Exactly that voice.
who made Neverwinter and Star Trek Online.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, they did a good
City
job.
of Heroes too. I really liked City of Heroes.
Yeah, I was thinking
Unplayed
there's a
by-
lot of similarities in those.
Yeah, they ended
so
up
I was curious about that.
porting that and City of Villains: The Champions Online. Yeah, Marvel Heroes. It's currently sitting at very positive on Steam overall, which is good. One of the new reviews is by Bruce Wayne, so I think we know why he doesn't like the game.
I would like it if it was DC Heroes.
I can't imagine.
I mean, I would too. I think it would be really. It's never going to happen. It would be awesome to have a Marvel versus DCU game, but
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'll never happen.
Yeah, never. Well, I can't say never because I never thought we'd see a game like this. To be honest with you, but
no, this is a lot of fun. This is a very fun game.
Yeah, and you were perhaps speaking about picking it up yourself, huh, Gray?
Yeah, well, what I was thinking was that one of the things that we're banding about at Twinstiq is playing a game for you guys through YouTube or something. We haven't thought about that a lot.
Yeah.
But we have been looking at various options, and one of the things that sort of happened was that Schoolers got involved with Marvel Heroes, and it then makes sense that if it, 2 people are playing that, why not just add a third?
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't think you'll regret it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And there's basically no way to fail.
right.
Yeah.
The game is not challenging.
The only time I've died is when me and Screw were playing together because it got kind of hard with 2 people. They upped the difficulty.
Yeah, because what they probably do is they probably do what the Diablo model does.
Right, it's exactly the
as
same
you add
thing.
players, people. As you add players, people. Let's try it in English. As you add players, things get more difficult.
Yep.
Yeah. I will say that the endgame content, which I was trying today, some of the one-shot stories that are basically daily quests,
Right?
those are tough. I was getting my
cool.
ass handed to me.
Yeah, I've been wondering how that is. I'd imagine it's pretty good since I see tons of level 60s all over the place, so they're still playing with those characters, so there must be something fun to do. I haven't tried any of the danger room scenarios. How are those?
I haven't got those yet because I'm not level 60, so
Oh, okay.
they're only usable at level 60.
Yeah.
In fact, the Wakanda daily quest, I failed it.
Oh wow.
I didn't get there in time. There some aspects I guess are timed, which is not really a problem. The one there it usually tells you straight up, okay, you have 3 minutes to get to this point, or we can't fight
I
that
recently
boss.
did one with Iron Fist. It was like, all right, I walked in, and it's like, okay, you have 10 seconds to go punch all the targets, and I was like, okay, and then I did it. It was pretty easy.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, and some things aren't like there's one really early on where you go fight, you go try to save people from Venom symbiote taking over their bodies and stuff, and that's timed. But if you beat the timer, the end boss, there's basically only one of them, and if you fail the timer, it's just harder.
Yeah.
So it's like you get bonus experience if you beat the timer and stuff too, but it doesn't totally fail the entire mission for you. It just kind of changes what happens.
Right. Yeah, and it didn't lock me out of trying that daily again.
No.
Oh, okay.
I can still do that. The other 2 that I've finished, I can't go back to until tomorrow, but I can
Right.
actually just go back and try this one again. But I really like the fact that they made them challenging, and I kind of wish that they would put that balance in the rest of the game, because it's worth it. It seems it's a lot more fun when you have to worry about getting hurt.
Yeah, but
Well-
the thing about having it that challenging throughout the whole game is that less people would play it.
Sure,
Yes.
yeah, and it by no way makes the game less fun to have it not very challenging. It makes perfect sense. You're a super being. You should be able to absolutely destroy
Yeah.
everything around
Right.
you.
Yeah. I
So
just
it
wish
makes
that some of the boss battles were like some boss battles can make me go, okay, wow, I really have to actually make sure I use my abilities in time here and time out their cooldowns and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes like I just defeated Kingpin and I dropped him in like 3 hits.
yeah, he was nothing. But Doctor Doom,
Oh
when
yeah,
you fight him,
I'm
that's a
about
proper
to go
boss
fight
battle.
him. I'm sure that'll be awesome. Well,
That is a proper boss battle.
Yeah,
that
I
one and
hope so.
Loki are pretty good, and
Yeah.
then Red Skull, which I fought today at Red Skull, and
cool.
that was a tough one.
Sweet. Yeah, I was really disappointed because they had the Mandarin and he had all 10 rings, which is like, cool, that's what I wanted to see in the fucking movie. And he just kind of wasn't.
Yeah,
very
he's
hard.
like, oh, here's all my jewelry, and then you punch him and he's down, and you're like, oh.
Well, him with the 10 rings is like on the level of Doctor Doom in the comics, so
Yeah.
it was like kind of weird that I was able to take him down pretty easily.
So one other question that presents itself is, now you're talking about bosses. Are you forced to group up for those, or can you just do
No.
them solo?
No, you
Okay.
can do it by yourself.
That's pretty good.
The one complaint I really have about grouping
Yes.
is that if you enter an instanced area kind of close to the same time somebody else did, you'll party with them automatically.
No.
And
okay.
they'll just, most people have played this a million times through, so they just run through and kill the boss, and you don't get credit.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then you're stuck there.
I get credit for it. I think that's why they do it. I usually get, like, if they run through all the way and get to the end, I get credit for the boss. It sucks because I didn't get to help do it, but I always get credit for it. I think.
Yeah, I was when I made it to Asgard, I went to fight Curse, I think it was.
Mm.
And I jumped in and I was playing, and this other guy just ran through and killed Curse, and then I was stuck there because there was no exit.
Yeah. Right.
And then I took a little pixel hunting, but I finally found the return to the helicarrier button.
Okay.
But
That's not
it has a
fun.
cooldown, so you can use it, but then you can't use it again for 10 minutes
Yeah.
or something.
Right.
Anyway,
Mm.
so I had to wait for the next day though to do that quest because it didn't reset,
Yes. Oh,
and that was a bit of an issue.
frustrating.
But
Yeah.
overall, it's like a really good system. I like it an awful
Yeah.
lot.
It's cool too because they have like synergy systems that you unlock later on, which are basically like every hero can start synergizing with your accounts. So like Iron Fist grants everyone extra spirit,
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
right? Like a 0.5% increase, but it's pretty cool.
Right.
Speaking of which, I actually have a cosmic weapon for you, Cody, when we next meet for
Oh,
Iron
cool.
Fist.
Sweet. But yeah, I was looking
Anyway.
at some of them. Iron Man, I think at like level 50, he gives all your other players an extra 20 gold with every gold drop.
Yeah,
So
which is-
that's a
which
good.
is nothing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's fine.
it's nothing, but when you consider how many times you pick up
Yes.
gold, like 100
Right.
times in a level, that's an extra 2,000 gold.
Right
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's pretty crazy. Although I do have like 400,000, and I don't know what to spend
Yeah.
it on because I've never spent
I-
it on anything.
I have been leveling up the crafters.
See, I
And
tried.
then-
You like hold Alt and left click on them, right?
Right click on them.
Yeah. Well, I either right clicking and left clicking doesn't do anything for whatever reason.
Oh well, yeah. See, I have got Hank Pym is up to like level 16 or something like
Yeah,
that now.
I was trying to level them up because yeah.
And that transfers to all your crafters, but they
Yep.
get more recipes that way. And then if you put your costumes in there, you can get your affixes, so your costumes actually become a gear piece.
Yeah, I somehow was given a costume for Iron Fist, so I gave it I think an experience bonus or something like that.
Yeah. So
With the
that's worth
enchanter.
doing, and that's the only way to increase the enchanters levels. But and all that means is, oh well, you're not selling that gear for credits, but you get so many credits in the game, it doesn't really matter. It's just you
Oh,
might
yeah,
as well
yeah.
you might as well just donate the stuff to level the vendors up. Anyway, it's worth playing. We probably should move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause that actually started out as Cody, what are you playing? And then Schoolers told us about what Cody's playing.
Yeah.
Right, Yoda, tell us more about what you're playing. Is that it?
Well, no, that's not it. I've got two others that I've kind of been playing, but they're not as fun as Marvel Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bloodborne is something me and Aaron have been trying to get through, and I just don't think that I.
But you're not a Souls dude, so
I am a
Bloodborne-
Souls dude. I beat Dark Souls
Oh, okay.
1 on New Game Plus on an Xbox 360.
Wow. Okay.
On an Xbox 360, Gray, the thing that runs worse than my
Okay.
computer. The thing that
Wow.
got worse frame
I'm
rate,
sorry.
definitely, than Bloodborne. But Bloodborne,
Okay.
I think, runs really, way too bad for me to have the patience for it. Like,
Okay.
it's been a while
So
since I played Dark
It's
Souls
not
on...
actually it's not actually the game, it is the way it's programmed.
It's definitely just the way. Like, if I had the option to
Okay.
play that game at 720p at 60, I probably wouldn't have a
Would
single problem with that
probably
game.
do it. Right, yeah.
Because I was trying to fight one of the first bosses, which we still haven't beaten. But there was a time where the boss does this thing where he jumps way up in the air and then he lands on you and hits you. That's usually what happens. Well, what you're supposed to do is he jumps way up in the air, and then before he lands, you
move out
roll
the
out
way.
of the way.
Right.
All right, so I I didn't roll out of the way for whatever reason. I think I got clipped onto a body on the ground or something like that.
Yeah.
But basically, I ended up staying there, and he
And
landed.
then you died.
He landed right on top of me. It was very clear that his hitbox landed on top of me. Nothing
Yeah.
happened. About a second later, I teleport away to where I probably would have rolled to. And it's shit like that. Like, even that's
That's
beneficial
not
to me, it's not always beneficial to me. And the game probably shouldn't run like that. I was doing
No.
some research online. People didn't really seem to have this experience with the game running as poorly as it does. Like, it always ran at 30, but not as bad as it is.
Yeah.
Until their DLC came out.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. People who have bought the DLC seem to have found
That
no
issue.
performance issues. People who don't
Yeah.
have the DLC seem to have some performance issues in the starting areas.
Fishy.
Oh.
So
Yeah, I'm wondering, is that by design now?
I
Yes.
don't know if it's by design or if they just also included a fix that they didn't think about including in a general update that they just
Yeah.
accidentally included with their DLC. So I'm not going to assume malice wherein it's probably just
No, well, okay, to be fair, we know that From Software are not the greatest programmers on earth.
no,
witnessed
no,
it
they're
before.
totally not. It's totally
The
possible
PC port
that
is
that
Visible.
oh, it was really bad. It's probably just far more likely that they included that update with the DLC without
Right.
yeah,
Like, really thinking about
really
it too
thinking
much.
about it. But
Because their games are really awesome, but their program isn't really.
yeah,
not
and
so
the
good.
level design in Bloodborne, like, it should absolutely be applauded. It is what I did not like about Dark Souls 2 was I never felt like the world was engaging me very well as
Yeah,
much as Dark Souls
right.
1 was. And Bloodborne, if I cared enough to play through how terribly it plays, it's very clear that it
You would
created a
probably
very
like it,
awesome
right.
world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Any other thing that you're playing?
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Okay, so why aren't you enjoying that?
I like that game. I do not
But-
like it nearly as much as the first game.
And
And I've actually been meaning to look this up. Either they got completely new writers, or the writers they did get forgot how to write anything.
Yeah, it's not
Right.
very.
I
well
keep waiting for that story to get better, and the broad strokes, like the big brush strokes of the plot, are fine. It's your standard Indiana Jones
yeah,
route, which is what the other game was. But
Right.
holy crap!
the story is bad.
It is. Yeah, it's still Rihanna Pratchett. I don't. What happened to you? What? I don't. I just don't know what's going on. Like,
She's a middling writer. That's the problem. I mean,
oh,
I
she did
think that-
Beyond Divinity. Oh, that game was good though.
I think that what needs to happen with her is that her dad wrote a lot, so maybe what she
Mm-hmm.
should do is probably write some actual fiction in a book first,
I
get
think-
an editor to look over it,
I think
and then
I think really what's going on with Rise of the Tomb Raider is that she wrote a complete story. It was probably great, and they picked and choose parts that they wanted to put in the game, and it doesn't make any sense.
yes,
There's
also
certain parts where I'm like, you're acting far differently than a person
What you're
would if
supposed
they
to
had
be.
known this person for this long.
yeah.
Like, there's
Right.
this scene where Laura's talking to Jacob, which is a character you meet probably 3 levels earlier, and she's like, "But you are not the man. You are not the man that I know you are. You wouldn't do something like that." And I'm like, "You've known him for like
Wow.
2 hours.
Say that.
How did
Who
you get
the
there?
fuck are you? Like, what is this crap?" It
Right.
totally baffles me. And
Not good.
there are more tombs, which is great, but they're not nearly as well designed as the other ones
Okay.
were.
Oh, see, now I thought they were way better designed. I liked them a lot more.
I thought they are far more linear. Like, it's definitely, oh well, this thing isn't here, but there's a wrench over there. You better turn the wrench, and then when you turn the wrench, there's a thing blocking that path, so you better push it out of the way. And ta-da! And I felt like I had to use my brain a hell of a lot more in the first game. I don't
Okay.
know.
No,
That's
I
fair
don't know. I liked them a lot better. I liked the design better.
I think they
The
look
puzzles
cool.
were not hard. I will give you that. The puzzles are not hard at all.
There hasn't been a single one where I've been like, okay, what do I do now? Whereas that was every tomb in the last game. I was like, okay, I mean, I've got myself in this position. Is this where I'm supposed to be, or should I change where
Yeah.
I'm going, and where do I need to go from here? Whereas in this game, every tomb is like, all right, I've completed step 1, and it's literally
Right.
it vocalized to me
There's a
what step
line
2 should be.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And now I'll just
That's
do that.
not good.
The hardest puzzle I ran across was actually in the Baba Yaga DLC that I picked that up. I actually don't recommend that. I thought it was going to be cool, but it was. It's fine probably if it's on sale, but it's only like maybe 2 hours
Right.
long. It's
Yeah.
not
Oh.
it's not enough for the $10 it costs. I
Right.
thought it was going to be really cool, and actually the stories, I mean, it's okay, but the hardest thing about it is the first puzzle, and the answer is really obvious. But
Right.
it took me probably 4 or 5 hours to figure it out.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of don't know if that was an accident or maybe they just did that on purpose so that people would stretch their time.
Yeah,
there.
maybe. It's totally
So did you finish the story for Rise of the Tomb Raider, right, Jason?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there ever a point where they acknowledge that the previous game existed? Is there ever a point in the story
You
where
hear
that's
it.
ever acknowledged?
You
'Cause
hear it through Trinity's conversations. They talk about how they were used to be on some island and we had to deal with Croft before, and some crazy sun cult. I don't know. They were nuts, more nuts than these guys, and there's a lot of that going on. So,
but not so much in how Laura's character developed through that game. Because if that game didn't exist and this was the new reboot of Tomb Raider, it would be perfectly fine. As what this is. I mean, we would be like, wow, that's a really bad story. But they did make a good game.
They talk about it. They talk about it through cutscenes and whatnot. It's not really ever mentioned a whole lot through the gameplay itself.
I just feel like
I do feel like the step was, in the first Tomb Raider, you had the kind of, I'm not going to say shy student, right? Because she's definitely not shy.
Well, it's a Luke Skywalker story. It's just the same hero's journey thing we've always seen. It's okay. I want to go do this. Oh shit! I'm thrown into a completely ridiculous situation, tied in with I'm killing a lot of people. So eventually, I'm going to start enjoying it, kind of thing. And by the end of it, like even physically, her costume starts to get torn down as she goes through it. Like her sleeves
that
get
doesn't
ripped off,
happen.
and then her legs get ripped off. So at the end of the game, like her
she looks like
the Tomb Raider, and she got the double pistols, and it was an awesome moment. And it definitely felt like that was the rise of the Tomb Raider. So then, is this her not rising? Because
Well, I think that this kind of gives her some more determination by the end, and you'll see that maybe. But I kind of feel like maybe the step up was that in the first one, yeah, you got to see her develop from a girl that was scared to hold a gun to somebody who was like, yeah, I'm going to use these. And in the second game, she's used to it, and that was the relation that I caught there was yeah, okay, I'm an adventurer now.
but I feel like they're telling that same story again though with the flashbacks
It
with
is.
her father.
There's
and
a
stuff,
whole
though.
lot of. There's a whole
And
lot
a lot of that,
um,
I'm like, okay, this is some really big information that probably should have been in the first game. Like,
Yeah.
there's no way you wouldn't have been thinking about all of these things during the events that you did in the first one.
Well,
So
the
why are
father
they
figure,
here?
the father figure in the first game though was Roth.
Yeah, but I mean her actual father. Like all the
well,
flashbacks
I
they have in this
understand.
game that they keep cutting to and stuff.
I understand that, but they made her father figure in the first game Roth and not her father,
Yeah.
who they pay attention to in this game, which is cool. I think it works, but it's not. Yeah, I think maybe taken a little bit out of context. I like it. I think it's good. I think I agree. I don't think the story
I
is
like
really
it
that
too.
strong.
Clearly, I'm liking it because I'm playing it. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna do all the tombs and ignore all the other random crap that's laying around because there's a shit ton of that. Holy fuck! Overburden the crap out of me.
The one thing I was pretty disappointed with is, and you mentioned earlier, is that the costume itself changes as you go along. You know, she's Laura. She
This
turns
one
into
is
Laura.
it's kind of cool because you have different bonuses and stuff from different gear. I found one
Yeah,
that
but
makes
it- but
her
it
look
never
like
changes.
Arnold from Commando.
Yeah.
Yeah, it never changes.
But it never changes. It can get dirty, but that's it.
Yeah, we're covered in
It
snow.
doesn't ever get tore up or worn down. And
Yeah, because that like the first game is literally the rise of the Tomb Raider. It's this girl falls in the beginning of the game. There's that famous thing where she's like, "Oh, I hate tombs," but her physicality starts to become better. She starts to learn how to do things over time. She interacts with characters, and it's an Indiana Jones story at the same time. And I thought it worked out really well. The characters took time to develop them, so when Sam gets taken, you're like, "Oh fuck, I like Sam."
That means
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny to me how, like, especially with these modern games, they kind of forget, that they made a previous game. So they make the previous game, and it's really good, and they're telling a wonderful story, and then they're like, "We're gonna make another game in this timeline," and then they just casually forget everything they told you in the first
Yeah.
game,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
they casually forget how they brought the
Well,
first game.
what's funny is that they also totally rely on you not forgetting that they made a first game, at least regards
Yes.
to Laura's character, because Laura wouldn't have a character if it wasn't for
If
the
it
character
wasn't
they
for
built
that
in the
first
first
game,
game.
right.
Because if you just look at what's happening here, she's just a nothing.
Right.
Like a complete nothing, and so are all the other characters, like even her mom, which should, like, there are a lot of, again, big broad stroke beats of the story and plot that would have worked
That are
really
fine.
well
Right.
had they been told well and taken the time to develop these characters and relationships between
Yeah, but
them.
now what's happened is that the characters are basically just empty shells, and
Yes,
it's not
and
working.
Yeah, more or less. Except, I don't know. I can't really say that of Lara herself because she is clearly the adventurer now. But yeah, she doesn't have a lot of depth here, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, but the only
She's
reason
an adventurer, and that's it. She's an adventurer. There's
Yes.
no.
There's no change. There's no arc between the beginning and
Yeah,
the end.
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. There's no arc. She doesn't become more of an adventurer by the end. She's
Or she
more
doesn't
determined,
change into
perhaps.
something else,
But that's
right?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
But
problematic.
I still really
mean,
liked it. I thought it was great. I had. a
It's
good
like,
time.
as I was saying, that they totally forgot what they did with the first game, where they actually set out to say, okay, she starts off with this one thing and then she ends up as another.
Yeah.
And it was good story writing. Well, I don't know. I've never played it, but it sounds like it was good story writing. And then here they're just like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't. It's no Schindler's List, but it worked, man.
no,
Like,
for a game it was a satisfying story. And then you get to the second game and they're like, well, she's now what she's supposed to be. We're not going to develop her anymore. So she's
but
gonna send away-
she's also not, because I kind of disagree in that she feels like she's a tomb. I don't feel like she's a Tomb Raider. I still feel like she's like just doing this to, because the whole plot of this one is that she's trying to prove her father wasn't crazy by hunting down this artifact.
Right.
Okay.
And it's the Holy Grail. It's the story of Last Crusade,
Yes.
basically. I just don't.
It's
Yeah,
just not
it's really
very
generic.
well.
It is really generic. I don't know. I don't think it's entirely bad, but yeah, it's not particularly good.
But
But it's engaging. I had a good time with it. I like going through it and hearing what people had to say and picking
I think the world they built is
collectibles with it.
engaging. I think the environments are great. I think it looks incredible. The texture work is great, even if the textures aren't ultra. I definitely disagree with saying the story is engaging. I really, really do not care at all what's going to happen. And like, I haven't beaten it yet, but I can already guess, oh man, this is too powerful for humanity to have. Let me throw it in the ocean, or let me destroy like,
Right.
there's no way that's not where this shit's going.
Right.
Like, even her mom's relationship to the bad guys was not a hard thing to see. Like, not like, even if it's not hard to see coming. I just watched Zootopia. The ending there wasn't hard to see coming, but it was still pulled off well. So I could go, okay.
Oh no, it's very predictable.
Yeah,
for sure.
But I don't feel like it's told well. I don't feel like her. So I'm going to compare this to The Flash, which is going to sound weird at first, but the Flash TV show does something well that it understands, and is what comics did for a very long time too, which is we have a character. He starts with Zip. All he does is run fast, and then he'll gain the ability to use that to do more things, so that by the end we can get the Flash that can travel through time, through walls, and all these other crazy things. But you slowly build up to that by introducing little elements of each thing in each episode. Like maybe one episode he uses it to run through walls, the next episode he he somehow goes back in time by a day, something like that. So you slowly build up to something that is as cool as the Flash that we've known and loved for 40 years. If they wanted to do that with Tomb Raider, that's fine. I'm cool with that. With the first game, it's like, alright, so here she's, being elevated to show, okay, I'm not just a scientist. I can accomplish things that other people can't. What does she gain from this game?
Yeah. Right.
Well, like I said, not much, aside from maybe a little more determination. It's a generic storyline. It's sort of, I don't know, the end cutscene, when you understand, when you see that, you kind of get the idea that she's cemented into, this is what I'm going to do now.
But that was the last game.
But, it was. But I don't know. It is what it is. I don't know that it's particularly great. I agree. The story's not very good. I still found it engaging. I still found it was like, it was like watching, like you said earlier, like Indiana Jones, watching Temple versus Raiders. They're the same thing. It's the,
it's just it's the way
it's just a different iteration.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
liked it.
I still think that you had a completed thing, like probably literally the exact plot of Last Crusade, and then they pick stuff out going, well, that would cost too much money, that would cost too much money, that would cost too much money.
Maybe, yeah.
And then these are the pieces of the script that we're going to keep, and so this is how the events are going to unfold.
Right.
It really, really feels that way. But even then, some of the lines really don't feel like any sort of sentence that a human being would say.
Well, some of them don't, but also some of those are being said by a sort of tribal society who don't really have any real contact with the outside world. So, I don't know. That's reaching.
We'll be optimistic here and say that when you lose your humanity, you lose your ability to socially communicate as well. That's canon now. That sounds good.
I know it's reaching. I'm not necessarily defending it to a whole lot. Other than
it's good to have a devil's advocate though to it. So.
Right.
I like it okay too. I really don't like the story. Really is all.
Right. That's fair enough. Yoda, so is that all you've been playing?
That's basically the games I've been playing.
Okay. Screwloose, how about you? What have you been playing?
Well, since last week, Marvel Heroes is all that I've been playing.
Like literally.
I finished off
one sentence answer.
I finished off the Baba Yaga expansion, like I said, and it was okay. Pick it up on sale if you want it. If you feel like you need it, it's not worth getting otherwise.
Okay.
I'll
That's
pass.
You're not missing anything. It was like a quick little Halloween story, and that's it.
Right.
No more than that. Yeah, other than that, Marvel Heroes, and we talked at length about that, so that's all I'm going to say.
Okay. I've been slacking off a whole lot and not playing much of anything. I did play my World of Warcraft character, and he's now at level 40. I had a bunch of dungeon runs this week.
Sweet.
I had a terrible. There's a dungeon that was endgame content called. It's a big city, and I'm struggling to remember the name now. But it's broken up into 3 sections, and the one's west, and the other one's commons, and so on and so forth. And anyway, so I came into the commons part of that particular dungeon, and the dungeon group that I was in, most of the dungeon groups now are entranced by the idea of speed, and not really worrying about who's with them and if they're with them and all that kind of thing. So you're supposed to pick up the quests at the beginning of it's Dire Maul, that's right. You're supposed to pick up the quests at the beginning, but this particular dungeon has the quests a little bit away from where the beginning is. And if you're in commons, it's a big square, and there are walkers that go around and they beat up on people if they're, running around behind the group. And so what happened was I wasn't fast enough on the door, and I got into the dungeon, and I was with them for about, I want to say 30 seconds, and then I lost them, and trying to get through the commons without a group is very difficult. So I died, came back in, died again, came back in, and then tried to plot a course to where they were. And I nearly actually hit them. I nearly got to the point where the group was, and they booted me at that point. And it was just like,
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do any more World of Warcraft dungeons.
Yeah.
So I did that. I have been playing the dailies in Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering Online Origins, because I want to see if Origins gets better if I have more cards. My feeling is it doesn't, so I don't really care. Hearthstone, I've been playing mostly so that I can get Goblins versus Gnomes cards before I decide to stop playing, because of the way the
wild systems are going to change.
Yes,
it's gonna make you drop off the way I dropped off for a while there.
It's not actually even the format change that bothers me. It's the way that they're going to make things digitally obsolete. That bothers me. Because basically what they're saying is past the cutoff date where the formats enter in to play, that a lot of stuff is not going to be able to be bought on the store anymore. And in fact, if you go into the store now and you go and try and buy Goblins versus Gnomes packs, there's a big exclamation point on the big board, and it says these are going away. You should probably think
these are going to be basically
them.
Useless pretty soon.
Yeah, they did the same thing with World of Warcraft, though. I mean, you think back to quote unquote vanilla WoW, level 60 raid content. You go in and that's the best gear in the game, and then within 6 months, that was useless crap.
but that gear's still in the game, though, isn't it? You can still.
It is, but there's no reason at all to get it.
Kind of, because what's happened subsequent is that they remade all the Cataclysm, and some of the gear sets actually did go away. Like there's a dungeon set that you could get in vanilla for running fairly high level, old level 60 content. It wasn't a raid set; it was an actual dungeon set, and you would assemble it, and that would probably be the gear that you would take into going into raids. That set doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You can get a cosmetic version of the set, but you can't actually get the version with the stats on it. But the difference for me there is that that's an MMO, and MMOs change all the time. This is a CCG. It's a digital CCG at that.
Yeah, that's true. And they should still have relevance. Yeah.
Right. And so the thing is that if you are making a CCG and if it's digital, you don't have to actually get rid of that content.
I know.
It's not something
they shouldn't, but I think it's funny that you say that since it's a CCG, it shouldn't change all the time when every other collectible card game does change all the time. But I do agree that since it's digital, there's no point in getting rid of it. It's them losing money for
Yeah,
no
and not to
reason.
mention, what about the people that already have this stuff? Is that going to be?
But you can use it in Wild. That's it.
Right, there is a format for that, but it's like
They'll
what's
still
gonna
be
happen-
in Arena too, right? They'll still show up as Arena picks.
No,
They won't.
no.
Well, that's fine, I suppose.
Everything. If you start playing standard, everything will be standard. If you start playing wild, everything will be wild. Arena's not part of wild. That's the one place that it's not part of.
So they're
and-
separate entities then, essentially.
Yeah. So, maybe the easiest way to describe this is, let's say you've got a competitive game of some nature,
Mhm.
okay, and you've got two different rule sets. That's basically what's happening here. So the one rule set lets you play with all the cards ever, and the other rule set only lets you play with certain of the card sets that are new. That's basically what's going on.
Okay.
And I approve of that. That's a good thing because it's going to make the game easier for them to balance. But I am not in agreement with the way they're handling it. I don't like the fact that they're taking things away from people who legitimately want to buy those things.
Yeah, that is really silly to me. And they're getting rid of Nax. Is the adventure they're getting rid of?
Yes. Okay, so what
They're
getting rid
removing
of?
Nax Ramos?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you will not be able to buy that when it rotates out.
That was like one of the funnest adventures.
I was going to
too.
say that was one of the best dungeons in World of Warcraft as well.
It was one of the best
before
adventures
and
in Hearthstone,
In
so
Hearthstone.
its reputation held up.
Yeah, if you desperately want to play through Nax Ramus and you're listening to this, my suggestion to you right now is go and farm 700 gold and buy the first wing, because the minute you buy the first wing, they can't actually remove the option for you to pay for the remaining wings. So
Yeah, right, because you've already committed yourself to it. Yeah.
Yep.
yes,
Yeah.
and you have until more or less the end of April to do that. April, the beginning of May. But after that, no, you won't be able to buy that
That's
adventure
still,
anymore.
it's
They're
just,
just
It's,
retiring
it's
that.
pretty
really,
stupid. I
really
mean, are they
baffles me.
planning? Are they planning some major overhaul for the whole title or something? Because it seems weird that they would do that.
They're introducing formats basically, so that there will be a standard format that only uses the newer expansions
Yes.
for tournament settings. And then there's so there'll be standard and there'll be wild, and wild is where any card can be used, which is normal Hearthstone right now.
Right.
Nice.
And my feeling is that why they're doing that is that they want to keep it as an esport. And the only way they can keep it as an esport is to make it entertaining, and the only way to make it entertaining is to rotate the card pool.
Yeah,
Um,
because otherwise everyone literally just uses the same decks
most
and
different
cards.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're seeing a lot of that now anyway, you know.
Yeah, well,
until the
you've
rotation-
seen that in Magic for years. Like, you just go watch
Yeah.
Magic tournaments now; they still all play the same decks.
No, well, they don't, because Magic doesn't have that problem. Magic hasn't had that problem for a long time. Because Magic has a standard environment.
Yeah,
It has a standard. In fact, it has more than standard. It has standard, modern, vintage. There's a whole lot of environments. Admittedly, most people don't play anything but standard because standard is cheap and easy to get into. But they have these environments where you can play with all the cards up to a point, or all the cards, but a restricted list. It's a lot broader, and Hearthstone will eventually get there.
yeah.
But right now, Hearthstone's basically saying, we have these two formats. We're not selling cards for the other format. In fact, we're not sanctioning the other format. So how it turns out for that other format is just too bad.
Yeah.
That's really what they're saying. And that's sad, you know. But there you go. It's Blizzard. And my big problem with this is that if Blizzard does this, lots of the other digital CCGs will go, oh, wait, that's a way to print money, because they will force you to buy new cards every time something rotates.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's problematic. But, you know, who am I? No
Well,
one
it
listens.
is. It is problematic.
Yeah. So, there you go. Anyway, that's my long rant on Hearthstone.
We've been like ranting about what we've been playing, but that's okay. I enjoyed it.
I have started up a game of King's Quest 6. I have been walking around a lot in that game. I haven't talked to everyone. I'm going to do some talking to people between today and tomorrow. This week, I'm going to be picking up more Spore because I've got to hit the travel phase. And I really should actually play more Gateway and finish that game. Because I'm
You say that every day. We do.
I've been saying it since October. I've now
That's
officially.
become the new Inca.
Oh God, yes. It really has. Inca I eventually got rid of, though.
Oh.
I actually went from Inca to Gateway, so
Oh, okay. All right.
Gateway, I am at the halfway point. I know I'm at the halfway point because I'm looking at a walkthrough for that game because it's an old school text adventure.
Right.
And because it's an old school text adventure, it's awfully easy to screw up and die.
Yeah.
And there's no way I'm playing it without a walkthrough because that's just not a good way to be playing it at this juncture. So,
Well, there are some games that you should, I think, play with a walkthrough.
yes.
Try
Gateway's
it
one
out
of them.
first, and then then go back through it or something.
Yeah.
There's one really cool puzzle in Gateway that actually uses the entire environment that you're in to create a big overarching puzzle, like a big meta puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally cool, and it's easy to see what's happening as long as you have a walkthrough. If you don't have a walkthrough, that environment will slaughter you.
Yeah.
Like literally, you'll take 2 or 3 steps and then you'll die because you just won't know what the meta puzzle is doing. It's a really cool puzzle, like really cool, but it's dependent on you understanding the environment that you're in, and you might not.
Yeah.
So that's me. That's
Yeah. That's another one of those things, another one of those. It is one of those things that if you had to put that game down for 2 weeks and then come back to it, then you might as well just have to start over.
Oh yeah. There's games that play like that.
So Gateway is not too bad in that respect because what Gateway has is it's set up so that it's a modern text adventure where what it has is it has a message board, and the message board will generally tell you the last thing that you needed to do.
Oh, okay.
And that's
so
very good.
You get a little rundown.
Yeah, it says
a recap.
You need to do this at this point. So from a text adventure standpoint, it's very good for that. But and most of the puzzles are self-contained, which helps a lot. So if you go somewhere and you do something, you can almost always guarantee that you will have everything on hand that you need to finish the puzzle. But some of the puzzles I'm seeing now rely on you getting items way back in the beginning. Like there's a gun that you have to smuggle to yourself. You only get one opportunity to do it, and you can only do it at this one point. And if you don't do it, when you're in this big meta puzzle, actually it kills you outright because you don't have the item that you need, the gun, to solve the puzzle. And it's just like, what?
So you're stuck and can no longer move forward.
No. Yes, that's exactly it. And there is, like I said, there's only one opportunity for you to get the gun. And it
was games like that like in RPGs when you'd pick up an item that maybe is a little dubious and you go, maybe I should hold on to that forever because you never know.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
In old RPGs, the bane of my existence always used to be cursed items, where you'd pick up the item and you wouldn't know what it was, but you had no way to identify it because the games all relied on you getting to the top of the dungeon, going into town, and speaking to the local priest. And then saying to him, hey, would you identify this for me, please? But in the heat of battle, it will show you 1 or 2 stats for the cursed item, and it would be infinitely better than whatever you had. So you'd equip the item, and now you were cursed.
Yeah.
Good.
You can never take this off again.
You can never take this off, and it does something crippling, like it will lower your armor class to like negative numbers.
Yeah.
You're really great with spells now, but you're gonna die the minute you come into contact with anyone.
You're effectively a saltine cracker.
Yeah, it's called Dark Souls mode. It's fine.
Dark Souls mode. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how using magic in that game is. It's really fun to be a caster in the first game, though. I really like magic.
But I mean, what would happen in these games is that you'd build your guy as a fighter. That would be what you would do. And then you'd come across, like I said, it would be a piece of equipment. And the equipment would look like fighter equipment. It would be steel, and it would have a great, maybe a great strength bonus. And then you'd put it on, and then the next thing, you get through the combat, and you're like, that's really interesting. Now I want to take this off, but you can't.
Yeah.
And that's when you realize something's not right.
Yeah.
So,
man.
There we go.
Well, you been playing anything else, Gray?
No, that's about it. I really ought to be playing Dropsy because I'm supposed to be doing a review for that at some point. But Dropsy sounds really depressing, and I can't bring myself to do that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
why.
which is weird. For a game with such a cute name, right?
I
like
know,
Dropsy.
Dropsy. That's the cutest damn name ever. But no, I totally.
Right.
That's why I haven't picked up that Dragon Cancer. I'm sure it's great.
Yeah,
I don't want to
yeah.
be that sad. I don't want to be that sad, man.
Right.
Yeah. I do
okay,
have
so-
another game you should play. I'm gonna drop it into the Razorcoms list
Okay.
here for you, and you should
Rightio.
go play that game.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh wow! I should totally do that. For those who can't see the Razor comms, he just
Which is everybody.
Marvel heroes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's actually talk about podcasty things.
Yes.
What?
First things first, we've got the Assassin's Creed movie in VR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who
a
wants
whole
to tell
movie
me
in
about that?
VR.
Because I don't know anything about that.
Earlier this week, basically at GDC, Ubisoft announced that they had filmed the
Have they
Assassin's
got 4
Creed movie.
Have they got 4 teams filming the movie?
I doubt it because Ubisoft opened their own movie studio just to make this.
So it is 4 teams. We just don't know it.
Probably. I mean, I think they partnered with a distributor. It might have been Fox or Paramount. I don't remember who. But this is the movie studio's first film. It's the Assassin's Creed movie, and they also shot it in VR. So,
That's cool, I suppose.
yeah. So I don't know how you'll be able to watch that in theaters. It just says it's coming this
probably won't.
year. It just says Assassin's Creed VR experience based on the film is coming this year, and it was filmed alongside the movie. So
It could be cool, or it could just be a bunch of parkour. So
yeah,
I don't know.
but if you're just watching, someone in the first-person film doing parkour, it'd be pretty cool until you watch yourself stab somebody in the throat and blood shoots out everywhere. Might be a little. Might be a little shocking.
Like, what is that? Have you guys seen the previews for that movie? What is it?
Hardcore Henry.
Hardcore Harry.
I
Yeah.
want to see that movie. Really
I think
bad.
I do too.
I
Yeah.
think that'll be
It looks
fun.
like it's gonna be fun.
That would be great in VR too. Or not.
Okay.
Actually, that would make me extremely sick.
I think that would make me pretty nauseous, quite frankly.
Yeah. Well, the
You're, like,
Yeah, it's gonna be an
wandering
each
around
group.
and-
the trailer for Hardcore Henry, I'm pretty sure it's what trailers do, and it takes all the action scenes out of a movie and
yeah.
straps them all together.
Yeah.
But since the whole film is in first person, it comes off as like, holy crap, this is going to be a really intense movie to watch. When
Yeah.
I guarantee you they're going to pace out the action quite a bit because they're not going to
Well,
sell you tickets
think
to
they
something
have
that's
to.
going to make you
Right.
puke.
It's like what happened with Zootopia.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
all
yeah.
of all of the kind of theatrical trailers for that movie were like, this is hilariously funny, and then you watch it and it's not really.
Yeah, there are funny bits in it, and it's a great film.
Yes.
But holy fuck,
You
is
got
that
all the
in a-
funny
that
bits
is-
in the
that-
trailers.
That is barely a movie for children.
Okay.
Well, you got all the funny bits in the trailers.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm actually very surprised that the sloth DMV scene is the exact same scene from the trailers. Like, I'm surprised.
Well, it is. It is.
Like,
but
I'm surprised it's in the movie at all. Since like,
Yeah,
if,
right.
if you
Normally
see-
that stuff they just cut
especially
it out.
since I've seen I think 6 movies in the past 3 months. I've seen that scene so many times already. And so it was cute to hear kids laugh at it now, but it was like, okay, I gotta sit through this one more time. So it's a little
can see-
funnier in the
now-
context of the
okay.
film, but okay, come on.
So here's the thing. I went into that movie blind, and the
cool.
sloth scene was hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I
first trailer I ever saw for that movie was just that scene.
was the sloth scene.
Yep, it was
Like,
they
yeah.
walk into the DMV and then they walk out.
Yeah, was that
the whole scene?
we saw that when we went to see Ant-Man or something like that. It seems like
Deadpool
Deadpool.
or
Yeah.
Oh.
That was
no?
great.
It
Oh,
was in front of
Zoolander. It was the first night.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the first night.
It was great.
But yeah, still a great movie. What's your big plot hole from that, Gray? I'm curious.
Oh, right. Okay. So now that you've
I
seen
haven't
it,
seen this movie yet, and I really want to. So
oh well, then I shouldn't actually
Spoilers.
tell you about the plot hole.
Okay, you should message me
Because-
then.
The plot hole is very, very, very plot central,
Okay,
and it's problematic.
I just haven't
when-
thought
when-
about it enough yet, so I'm sure there
when
is
when I
totally one
mention
there.
it to you, you'll go, "Oh yes, that is a giant plot hole, and they should have fixed that." Okay, so we talked about the Assassin's Creed movie. I'm gonna
Yep.
save the Morpheus
We
stuff. and
talked
Oculus
more
stuff
about
until
Zootopia.
last. Yeah,
Zootopia is
it's
a way better
probably-
movie than the Assassin's Creed movie is going to be. I'm just going to tell you that right now, man.
I was going to make that
Spoilers.
exact point.
yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers, the Assassin's Creed movie. I love you, Michael Fassbender. You're like the new Marlon Brando. You're great. But, like, holy crap, man. Why'd you sign on this? It's
Okay.
going to be so bad.
I'm going to save the Morpheus and Oculus stuff until the end, so just
Okay,
hold tight on that. Jim Sterling is being sued for $10 million. This is all very funny. And if you haven't been keeping track of the saga, at this point it really is a saga.
Yeah.
But some dude who Jim...
Jason might need a rundown on the saga.
Yeah, I briefly read about it, but I didn't pay any attention. So refresh. Please.
Okay, so I'm not even going to run through the whole thing, but essentially...
The whole thing's the best part.
Yes, but it will take too long.
Okay.
So, Jim is a guy who does YouTube videos for a living, and he reviews things on his YouTube videos. And one of the things that he reviewed was this very awful game. And the developer, who basically didn't realize that this is how reviews worked, went, "You can't say that about my game, oh god." And Jim's reaction to this was like, surprise, that's how reviews work. So the guy is suing him for $10 million because evidently it's like, you're defaming me and stuff.
Well, they're not just suing him just for that game because
it's all the games.
he what he likes to do, the thing he's like best known for is he finds the worst games on Steam and reviews them. Like the shittiest shit that came out of a shitting eating shit eater is what he reviews.
He's doing basically what AVGN does for
yeah,
videos.
It's hilarious to watch. The Digital Homicide, the studio that's suing him, they released I think like 40 games last year. So that should tell you the quality of the type of all the games they're releasing. If they were able to somehow develop, quote unquote,
crank out
40 games in a year. And he reviewed all of them because they're all really bad games and they're all on Steam
and it probably didn't take very long.
People. No, and a lot of them are asset flipping stuff from the Unity store. Like there's buying the stock assets that you can buy in the Unity store and throwing them in the game and then barely putting them together, sell it and throwing it up on Steam. And since Valve has no quality control, they're like, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah. Something like that. What was that Dinosaur Hunter game that you reviewed a long time ago?
Basically, kind of like that. But apparently, Digital Homicide also like changed their developer name to try to get around him from reviewing his games and stuff. But since he reviews all the shit, he ended up stumbling upon their games again. But now they've finally went ahead and sued him for $10 million. And what's hilarious to me is that they're saying $2.2 million of that is for direct product damage. They think that they would have sold $2.2 million worth of their copies of their shitty games had he not interfered.
I'm sorry if they don't realize how this works, but in order for you to sell $2.2 million worth of games, the games have to be good.
Yeah, you have to not have overwhelmingly negative reviews on all your games on Steam, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah, 4.3 million for emotional distress or something like that, and then like
wow, poor me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my take on this is that Jim Sterling's just going to laugh at them. They're going to go to court, and then Jim's going to say, "Good luck, because you're suing me because I reviewed your games," and the court case.
Well, they don't have a lawyer. They're representing themselves.
Oh yes, that's
that'll be.
They are literally representing themselves. Yeah. They tried to start a crowdfunding campaign, by the way, for a lawyer, and you can tell how that went.
Yeah,
I mean,
they basically put up a crowdfunding so people could
give me a lawyer on Kickstarter
for their defamation case.
It wasn't GoFundMe, but it's the same
thing.
Yeah, but people just commented on it saying how a bunch of fucking idiots they are, and so they were like, "We got totally harassed, so we're gonna seek other ways to find funds." Like,
the other thing was that people were being smart, and I guess this is funny in a way, but also kind of not. They were basically ponying up just enough money that they could generate chargebacks for these guys, and that was one of the other things that made them pull the plug on a crowdfunding campaign. So it's all kind of hilarious, and you should really read about it. But
I want to check it out. But
I mean, they're trying to break a record this year. What are we in March? They have 18 games on Steam Greenlight in this year already.
Great. Okay, that's terrible. And that just proves one of my points about Steam. It needs better curation.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
oh,
definitely
yeah.
does. Definitely
Yeah.
does.
Good God.
Don't buy anything on Steam unless you have researched it. Absolutely.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Um,
even games that you think should be okay are probably not going to.
Yeah,
because
Arkham
the
Knight's still on Steam. That doesn't work on half the computers in the
right,
world.
and that doesn't work. Or
Yeah.
even some of the
Yeah,
older games.
and they gave up on it. The whole studio just threw their hands
Yeah.
up, like, I don't know.
Yeah, they took it off and they were like, well, we can't fix it, so just put it back up so we get more money. It's like,
Yeah.
Right.
what?
At least people will still buy it.
Yeah.
Right. And even like games that you think, from your childhood that should work okay, the publishers just put them up as shovelware. They don't even try and fix them.
Yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
They don't include DOSBox programs to run it or anything like that. They just thrown up.
They're just there.
The files are there. The files from 1994 for
Are there.
any game like that, like Indiana Jones and Quest for
And
Atlantis,
Lost
stuff like that.
Right.
Anything like that is just. It's just
Floating
there, and
in
it
the
won't
wild.
run, and you'll have
You know,
to mod it to run it.
I had an experience like that. Well, but like maybe a year before I upgraded my computer
Okay.
from the old 10-year-old box that I had before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even remember the name of the game now. It seems like it was a Star Wars title, but it used SSE2 for processing.
Oh wow,
Um,
that's
now
far away.
it was a long time ago. Now, but my previous computer being 10 years old didn't support SSE2. I didn't even know anything about that.
Yeah.
But everybody was like, "Oh, this is great! It's fun," and it looked like it was going to run. It only required such and such, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. It's not expensive. I could even play it on my machine, and it's something I haven't played before." And I bought it,
Mhm.
and it didn't work because my computer didn't support that. And I was like, "Well, that was a waste of money," and that was before you could return games. So
Yeah,
it just
yeah,
sat in
yeah.
my library and did nothing. And yeah, I was super mad about that, and that was
Oh,
my
yeah.
lesson about pay attention to what you're doing.
Because it might not work out.
Right, it may not happen. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
you don't
that's-
think about that. I mean, you do now, unfortunately, because we have so many instances like that happen so commonly, which is stupid. But before it was like, okay, I buy a CD, I put it in my computer, and then I play it. Because there's no way they would sell me a product that doesn't work. Like, usually if a product's broken, they get recalled.
Yeah.
But not in the computer game industry,
Not in
which
the
is
gaming
good.
industry.
No
That's
information
leads me
there.
right to our next thing, which is Blizzard are updating their old games
Yep.
to
Yeah.
run on modern computers.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can actually still buy Diablo 2 and Warcraft 3 on the Battle.net store. They are not cheap, by the way. Don't buy
I
them
know.
that way if you
It's
can help
like,
it.
it's really silly. Like, there's
It's Blizzard. Blizzard is charging Blizzard prices because they can.
They're just like, we made it, it's worth millions.
It's not like they're not quality games that aren't actually worth that price, but they're so dated at this point.
Yeah, they're
that it's
old,
like,
yeah.
come on,
Yeah.
dude.
I mean, at this
Like-
point, Diablo 2 is 16 years old.
Yeah.
At
It's
this
still
point,
good.
Yeah.
It's still good. Warcraft 3 is still
But
good.
how much do they
But-
charge for Diablo?
But yeah, they're not $40 good or whatever anymore.
Well,
I don't
whatever
know.
that
$40
price is.
isn't as bad as, let's say, Microsoft. They still charge
Yeah, but
$60 for Halo 2, which is a Windows Vista exclusive, by the way.
yeah,
It's still a
yeah,
Windows
exclusive.
Vista exclusive.
Yeah.
I want to go and quickly look up the price for Diablo 2 on the Battle.net store, but my feeling is that it's going it would almost be worth your finding the game on
Classic Games Battle
On disc.
by
On-
Digital
on
War Diablo 2. $10.
yeah,
$10? Yeah, okay.
$10 for Diablo 2. That's totally
Is that
fair.
just the game or is that the battle chest?
Dun, 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 dun. Product details. Wow, that's not any information. I don't know.
at all.
No.
Oh, it's separate because I see that they've got in the European store they got Diablo 2 for $9.99,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they've got Lord of
Lords of
Destruction
Destruction for another $10.
and that's $20, guys.
Yeah,
You can
$20
buy
for a
this-
16-year-old title.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
And a lot of
find
people
this-
probably still play it, and it's still fun. But
Yeah.
I'm not going to pay for it.
Yeah.
No.
Like they've got the Warcraft 3 here. They've got them
It's
separate
$10.
again. That's $20 and
Oh yeah, for Rain and Frozen Throne. That's right, huh?
it's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then StarCraft 1 with all of its things are $15.
Yeah, I
Right.
think Aaron and I got each other one year for Christmas the Warcraft 3 Battle Chest.
Mhm.
We planned that out. We got each other that
Yeah, huh?
because it was cool, and it is cool. It's fun.
And the thing is that you probably got it for not quite $5 or whatever, $10.
Yeah,
'cause it was
I
in a
don't
bargain bin some
even
way.
remember. I don't even
Right.
remember.
Right. I mean, I remember walking into a store. I want to say it was probably 10 or 12 years ago, and I saw Diablo 2 in the battle chest, and it was reasonably priced. And by reasonably priced, I mean it was like about $10 or whatever.
Yeah.
And that box came with Diablo, Diablo
Yeah, the
2,
original.
Lord of Destruction, the manuals. It had everything you needed to get going, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
The fact that Blizzard is still charging $10 for the one thing is crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it totally is.
You know,
Yeah. Because I don't even remember. I may be totally wrong here, but that game brand new I think was like $20, wasn't it? 20
no,
or
it was a
$30.
little bit more expensive than that. But it's great that they're updating their games, and I'm glad that they're doing it because it means that people can still play them on modern systems. It's less great that they're selling them for crazy prices, but it's Blizzard, so
Right.
we
Yeah,
talked
they're
about
always going to
Blizzard
do that.
at length already. So something that's gonna get remastered is the BioShock collection, which has been talked about for a while now. It's coming to PC, the Xbox One, and the PS4. There's no price, no release date. The question really is, would you do that to yourself again?
The answer for me is a quick no.
The
I
answer for
I
me
don't
is
like
would no
BioShock.
too.
I don't like Bioshock either. I liked Infinite a lot.
I did
really
too,
liked
but-
Infinite, but I know a lot of people who liked Bioshock don't like Bioshock Infinite. So I
Right,
think
exactly,
That's
and I
exactly
think-
where I stand.
That's where I'm at too. I thought BioShock was boring as hell.
Me
It had
too.
a good story, but it was so monotonous and
I thought the gameplay was better than the story in the first Bioshock, and I thought the opposite of Bioshock 2. But I still wasn't like, these are the best things in the world.
I couldn't even play through BioShock 2 because at a certain point it just crashed over and over and over again.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't have
at
a
the
gaming
same
computer when I was playing those games, but yeah, I don't care.
Okay, so I don't regularly play shooters, right? But everyone told me, "Oh, the story in BioShock is so amazing. You should probably get it."
Yeah.
So I bought it.
Yeah, it was all
started
right.
Playing it.
The story was
Um,
all right, but it wasn't good.
And the thing is, that it's
and
just
yeah,
it's to me it's a bog standard shooter with occasional power ups,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah, that's what it is. And like their puzzles are well designed, yes, but they're few
Yeah.
and far between. And the
Right.
most interesting parts are the parts where you have to set up traps and then defend areas. But those are also few and far between, and they're
Yeah,
also
right.
not very hard. But people kept making it out to be like it was the new Half-Life 2. It's going to change shooters forever. And yeah, look, go ahead. Look, it didn't. It also
Yeah.
made no use of its setting and its mechanics. Like,
yes,
at no
that's
point,
true.
at no point does you being underwater bring
Matter.
into yeah.
It really
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
Might
just
matter.
a
as well
difference-
have been set in space.
Yeah.
Right. It was a nice way to make like little wavy designs on
Yep.
the ceilings that translated downwards.
Which the opposite is
sometimes-
true for the game that those people don't like, which is Bioshock Infinite, where you have sky rails and there are a lot of verticality because you're in the fucking sky and things
Except
should
that
be.
the sky rails also don't really matter because they become monotonous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, they do.
but at least they made a little bit more use of their setting. I'm not saying they
Oh,
used it to
true.
its full
Okay.
extent, but they used something.
Yeah, you didn't.
Right.
It's I kind of wish you could, I don't know, get a jetpack or something to be able to fly around here. And
Yeah, that would have been cool.
short distances
That would
or
have been
something.
awesome.
I mean, that would have made sense.
Yeah.
The
But
one thing I
you
really
do
didn't
use the
like
rails for
about
that and stuff.
the one thing I really didn't like about Infinite was that the what are they called, plasmids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Your powers. A lot of those didn't need to be there. They didn't mean anything.
Yeah, well, it was
They're,
the same in the first two Bioshocks games. It was like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
didn't do anything. You could have had
There
a
are
really
obvious
cool system where it like plays on how well you observe things in the world and stuff like that. Maybe they make you crazy, but nah, nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, my answer, no, I would not buy Bioshock again. I'm kind
No,
of sorry.
I would
I
never.
won't, but I guarantee you a lot of people will.
A lot of people
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
And
And it does come with Bioshock 1, 2, and I
Infinite?
forgot the Infinite. Yeah.
And I'm
It comes
assuming
with-
all their
but-
DLCs, which are probably like 3 times the value of all those as well. 'Cause there's billions of that for those games.
Yeah, and it's supposed to come out as a bundle, which, you know, I mean, if they've properly priced, is worth it.
No, it doesn't surprise me. All big franchises get bundles like this, and for people who like the games, then that's cool. And if they get bonus stuff, even better. So good for people who like BioShock.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm never buying it as a shooter, so there you go. I've had my experience and failure with that series, and I'm not going to revisit it. Sorry.
That is fair.
Okay, so we have a rumor, and I'm going to circle back to the Oculus stuff.
Okay.
PS4, the 4K PS4, is it inbound? Do we know? Does anyone? Who actually posted that?
I did. I've got a thing here from
It's a rumor,
Attack
right?
of the Fanboy. It's just a rumor. Sony might be. I'm just gonna quote their article. That's pretty short.
Sure thing.
Sony might
Go
be
ahead.
planning to upgrade the current PS4 console so they can output a 4K resolution for video games. The current model, however, is too weak to output 4K outside of pictures and videos.
There we go. That's the issue.
Yep. This is according to sources that have spoken about the topic to Kotaku. They just note that the new PS4 is being dubbed the PS4.5, and its main function is to increase graphical power and run games in 4K. Doesn't surprise me. 4K TVs are being pushed really heavily at stores like Best Buy.
Yeah, I kind of think there might be some truth to that. I mean, when PlayStation 2 originally came out, you know, they had the brick model, which was all right. It was cool. It was a PlayStation 2. It did what it did.
I would rather.
But then they came out with a PlayStation Slim, the PS2 Slim, which had a better processor in it. It ran better and had more memory and such.
And
so
the
I think
games
it's
games ran better too. With that, like I remember playing. Not Need for Speed, one of the other racing games that are really generic, but it didn't run all too well. But when he got his new PlayStation, we were like, wow, this plays really better. What's going on here? We didn't know that it was frame rate, but looking back at it now, that's clearly what the difference was. And I wonder if games are going to run better on this new PS4 if they don't output in 4K, but it has a better video card, which I'm imagining is going to be the thing they upgrade. It's really all they need to upgrade.
Right. Yeah, because I mean,
I think it's plausible.
Yeah.
The thing to me is that if it's a video card, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what's probably going to have to happen is they're going to have to nudge the price of that up, and I don't know how they're going to get people to buy into that.
I guarantee you what they'll do is they'll say that the old PS4 is $300 across the board now, and the new one will be $400.
Oh, right, okay, and right, okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
that's
sure.
that's usually
they'll
what
just
that's
make it up.
that's what Microsoft did every time they came out with a new Xbox 360, which was every other month.
Right, they just dropped the price on the old one and said, hey, have at it, but this is the new one, and you need to buy this one.
Yeah, honestly, it would be smarter for them if they came out with a modular console, which is what I hope that Nintendo does, because the thing they need to start realizing is that people are going to want to upgrade, but they don't want to spend $400 every time to do it.
Yeah.
So if they go, okay, we have a modular PlayStation here, where you can swap out the video card or the hard drive or whatever you want.
Right.
And then we'll sell them to you at like $100 5 years down the road. That would be a great investment for them and the consumer.
I also think that that's been like a system killer for some people, in the sense that they look at the beginning of life Xbox, and then they go, you know what, in 2 years they'll release a slightly nicer version of this.
Yep.
And so they don't buy. You know, they just don't buy.
Mm-hmm.
And then towards the end of the system's life, when the system life is beginning to be on life support but not yet dead, then they go, okay, it's as cheap as it's going to get, I'll buy now.
Yeah.
You know? And that's purely because at that point, that machine is as strong as it's going to get. It has a decent
I
library
think
of
there's probably
games.
some truth to that too, but I think a lot of people, in all fairness, are not that patient.
Yeah, I guess there is that. The one funny thing that I saw a couple of years ago was when they were still talking about Steam machines. No one talks about Steam machines anymore.
I think they're quietly let that die. I don't think they're going to pursue it anymore.
One of the very interesting Steam machines that I saw was like a completely modular machine, where it had pieces that you could slot in and out. And as the pieces got
I remember that one. That was the the server looking thing, right? Where you
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was looking at that too. That was really cool.
And that is like the optimal way to do this in the future, is to say, okay, we're going to base it all on this one processor. But as the processor gets better or the technology gets better, you can then, slide out the processor tray and put a new processor tray, and off you go.
You know what? You're saying processor reminded me that we were talking about earlier that the Morpheus has its own external processor. I guarantee you that's all it's going to be. They're going to have that processor inserted into the new PS4.
They will do that.
That would be the cheapest thing for them to do, is that to take a product they're already making, slap it into their box in some way, and then sell that as the new one.
Kind of
and that would allow 4K, so that makes sense. Yeah.
They would kind of have to, because if they're going to go to VR, then they're going to need a better processor than the one they have.
Yeah.
And as things stand, you're already telling me that what they wanted to do was, in order to make the VR work, they were trying to add on a little box that you
it does. The Morpheus is the PlayStation Eye is just for motion tracking, but the Morpheus is the only headset that it has a built-in CPU in it, or a GPU. Yeah. It's like a combination GPU CPU. I'm not going to pretend to know how it works. It's some magical fucking powerhouse box that fucking allows the PlayStation to render video at 60 FPS in each eye.
Is that going to be their own architecture? I'm curious about that, because AMD for a while did the accelerated processing unit, the APUs. I don't think they do those anymore, but that's kind of what that sounds like to me.
It's probably exactly what it is, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Now, I'm not really sure because the thing is that Sony is only middling at producing hardware. I mean, and it doesn't stand to reason to me that they would be able to produce their own GPU. So I think it will be a branded GPU of some persuasion.
Yeah.
If it's not AMD, it will be NVIDIA or whatever.
Because both the PS4 and the 360 and the Xbox One have the same AMD video card in them. I don't remember what it is, but it's pretty outdated now.
Yes, well, they're all basically just PCs at this point.
Oh, yeah.
They're slightly different.
Which is good, because that means ports should be way better. And they have been for the most part. Well, I mean, there's a few companies here and there. Fucking Square Enix, but it's for the most part, most of the ports we've been getting from the new gen consoles have been far better than ports from 360.
I am quietly curious to see what kind of disaster awaits us with Dark Souls 3.
Well, Dark Souls 2 had a great port, though.
Yeah, the second game had an excellent port.
Did From Software give that to someone else to port?
I don't remember. We'll find out. Talk amongst yourselves while I look up some information.
I don't either, but I am very excited for Dark Souls 3, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Since we were talking about this sort of stuff, I'm just going to seek us into the Morpheus and Oculus stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The Morpheus price is $400, which is just a headset. Okay, you get nothing else with that, as far as I'm aware.
Yep.
And then there's a bundle, and the bundle and that's $500. That's what you should buy. It has the Move controllers and the PSI, which, like Yoda saying,
and two games.
Right, and 2 games. The PSI you're going to need for motion tracking. So it's the same thing as the Kinect, essentially.
Yeah.
The Oculus is the counterpoint to this. It's releasing on March the 28th. The package has the Rift headset, cables, and controllers along with 2 games. That's $600.
Only one controller.
Only one controller. Sorry. Oh, yes, you're right. I'm not reading correctly. You might need a new PC to run it, because it will be pretty intense.
Right.
Yeah.
There are 30 games available for that at launch.
I don't remember what the minimum system requirements entirely are. I know that you need at least a GTX 970, though.
Mm-hmm.
So
you will need a fairly recent video card.
There is like some special deal, and I should have kept the page up when I put this on here, because I don't.
Oh, right.
Now. But there's like a wait, here it is right here. If you spend $600 on Oculus VR headsets plus around $1,000 on a new gaming PC, if necessary, you'll get at least 1 game for free, the platform Lucky's Tale if you pre-order, and Eve Valkyrie beyond that. So it's like if you, with a pre-order, you get an extra game. That's a little
scary, though, because Eve Valkyrie is a subscription-based MMO.
Yeah.
That seems scaly. As all get up.
So
anyway, continue. Sorry, I derailed you.
Well, that's the quote. But also, if you wait longer, you can have aside from the 30 games that are going to come out initially available, not included with the system, mind you. But if you wait a little bit longer, you'll be able to get 11 more games, which have no exact release date and mostly no pricing, which kind of brings me to another point of there is no standard so far for pricing for these VR games. But some of them range like Adventure Time is $5.
The game
Yeah,
is $5.
$5 for VR Adventure Time.
So it sounds like it's more like an app. I'm guessing that's an app.
Kind of, I guess. But then you've got Elite Dangerous is $60.
Well, yeah, that's
No,
a game.
No. Actually, that's not even the truth. The price point for Elite Dangerous is basically whatever you want it to be.
Yeah,
It can be
that's an
another
expensive
Well,
game.
these are their price listing right here. Elite Dangerous Deluxe
Okay.
Edition,
Okay.
$59.99. Eve Valkyrie Founders Pack, $59.99. But right below that, Hero Bound, $9.99. You know, I mean, they're
an
kind of all
indie
over
game
the place.
though, so yeah. I mean, that it just depends on who wants to. Most of the people making stuff for VR right now aren't your big publishers. There are a lot of indie game people.
Sure.
Right.
Elite Dangerous has been around for a long time though, so it's no surprise that they got VR support at the ready.
Right. One
Right.
thing,
And,
that,
you know, but the point is, they're kind of you're not really going to be looking at like Xbox or PlayStation games. Like every one of those is $60.
Right, yeah.
That's like a standard
Oh yeah,
price,
yeah.
and there isn't one yet for the VR. So cool.
no, I think that the prices are sort of standard, but they're sort of standard for regular games. So, like you're seeing $60 for the top end stuff, and you're seeing
Right.
10.
It's like PC standard. You got
Yeah.
kind of run the gamut.
The other thing that's interesting to me there is how they're going to work it for things like No Man's Sky, because you have to imagine that Sony's thinking about that.
Sure.
Okay.
I guarantee you, No Man's Sky will probably be their first Morpheus game that's available when it comes out.
Right. But the thing is that because No Man's Sky is also going to be a PC game, they're going to have to give dev kits to the Oculus Rift people. And I wonder how
Well,
that's going to
they
work.
don't have to, but it won't be hard for people to come out with mods for it.
Yeah.
That's true.
People, you can already watch videos. They're hilarious of people playing Skyrim in VR. So,
All right. Well, my question about this whole thing, and the reason I wanted to bring this topic up,
Sure thing.
Oculus has been in development a long time.
Yeah.
So has PlayStation's VR, to be fair.
yeah.
But PlayStation's VR has been in development much less time, I think, than Oculus, and they're releasing it like a week earlier.
But you have to remember that Oculus didn't have the support of Facebook.
And
Sure.
also,
for
the other
very
thing
long.
is right. And the other thing is that Oculus had to do all their own research.
Yeah.
Right.
Where
Well, that's true.
Where,
yeah,
Sony is a
brand new technology.
multi-billion-dollar corporation
Right.
that goes, okay, this Oculus thing seems to be getting some traction, and it's consumers who are demanding that they want it, and not us telling them that they want VR.
Right.
So if we come out with VR, we already have a huge platform on the ready that we can go with it. How much
Right.
would that cost, and is it worth it? Let's
Right.
go ahead. Like they.
So, but
yeah.
but my base question here is that based on requirements, which package would you rather have?
yeah, that was your
I
actual
personally am not that interested in VR, but if I was going to go for one, I think it would be PlayStation.
Well, yeah, I have a PS4 and I have a PC that can run an Oculus. I'm not gonna get either this year. I'm really looking forward to VR. I don't need to be an early adopter. This is still like
Yeah, it's still
Why
new
don't we have Dr. S on this podcast? Since we're talking about this.
That's
That's
true.
all he talks about.
Yeah, true.
But-
he loves VR.
Yeah, I do too. Ever since I was very skeptical until I tried it at GDC a few years ago, and now
Right,
I am
yeah.
fucking ready. But I'm gonna wait for a while. Like I'm gonna wait to see it be more of a standard thing that people have in their households. I'm gonna wait until probably a year or two. Unless I somehow come across a fair amount of money and go, okay, well, you know what? Maybe I'll spend $400 to $600 and get myself something. If there's a game especially that I'm like, man, I really want to experience that, or if I want to start developing one of my games in VR,
Yeah, right.
that would make me go, okay, cool. Let's pick one of these up.
Right.
And as just playing games, I would definitely probably want to just go PlayStation because it's cheaper and I already have the console. I know it would work. At least, supposedly I know it would work. But the developer side of me wants to go, well, I can't exactly develop things for a PlayStation 4 as easily as I could on my PC in something like Unreal Engine or Unity
Sure.
or even Stingray. So if I spend the extra 200, not only can I play games, I could also start experimenting with making them.
Right.
So I don't know. That's why I'm going to wait a year.
Yeah.
At least, so that's where I'm coming from.
Well, I'm kind of along the lines of I would wait a year anyway because I don't want the brand new generation of any technology.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can bet it's going to
it's
be
basically
buggy.
untested. It's probably going to be buggy.
Yeah.
and
Well,
the new
think about when
generation that comes out-
smartphones first came out. Like, people were like, I don't need a smartphone. You
Yeah.
know? And I
Oh,
was
dude,
like
I
that
was
too.
a holdout for a long time.
Yeah, I was like, oh, whatever. And then
I still have my
when I
first
came into
smartphone.
college, I got into I do too. When I came into college, I got one. I was like, okay, cool. I get the buzz now. I enjoy this. So
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was a holdout forever. I didn't get one.
But
till
I think
2 years ago.
what people are upset with VR is they expect it to have the adoption rates of smartphones. Nothing in human history has had the adoption rate of smartphones except for maybe the original telephone.
Yeah.
And even televisions, HD televisions, and 3D televisions died off. But
Thank goodness.
well, yeah, exactly. But that didn't change how you watched anything, really.
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, it didn't actually make a difference to you how you. It was still in the end. It was still TV.
It also required more of you to watch it. Like it required where you sit. It required you to collect more things to watch it. It's not like you sit down, turn on one monitor, and then start watching.
And then off
which
you
is
go, right,
which is
yeah.
the same way with VR. You sit down, you turn on one thing, and then you're inside of a world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see it. I'm just not really interested in having one.
Yeah, I'm not interested in being the first person to have one of them fancy radios. You know.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
I'll wait till there's like a good amount of competition and it's a standard thing that we know how it works.
I mean, also there's the other issue of that if you are an early adopter, you are basically paying a lot of money to help make the experience better for a bunch of other people.
Which can be cool and rewarding, but I don't think a lot of people realize that's what they're doing.
Right, because that is literally because that's kind of how the original wave of smartphones was.
Mm-hmm.
That the people who are still developing those are still not really sure what they were going to do and how they're going to work and what they're going to be capable of. So they were just trying experiments. And unfortunately, you bought a smartphone for some crazy amount of money, and now you're the guinea pig. Good luck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It will be the same thing here. I'm coming at this from a slightly different position. There are two things going on with me here. The one is that the way my eyesight is precludes me from any kind of VR.
Yeah, so there's absolutely no reason for you to ever go out and spend $400 to $600 without trying it to make sure you know that you're not going to have an issue using your glasses or anything like that.
Yeah.
And it also might just not work for me because I've had the experience of playing around with the 3DS. And the 3DS doesn't work for me, like the actual 3D.
Yeah, well, different people process things differently, like just in how their brain works. Like I know people who also had the 3DSs; they couldn't see it at all. When I could look at it and clear as day, there it is. It's just how your brain processes things.
Right. Now, I've also had this experience with 3D movies. One of the reasons why I didn't go see Zootopia in 3D is because I just can't see the 3D, and because watching a 3D movie as a 2D movie just hurts in the end.
Yeah, right.
So,
also, it wasn't filmed in 3D, so you shouldn't ever see converted 3D movies.
Right. Although I imagine
even the new Star Wars was converted, though.
Yep.
Yeah. Apparently, it was all right in 3D.
But I imagine that. Sorry to bring the conversation back to Zootopia, but the train sequence would have been amazing in 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it was filmed in 3D, if it was converted in 3D, it would have been pretty bad.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it, but anyway. So that's the one thing for me is that I will probably not be able to see the 3D, so the 3D is useless to me.
Yeah.
The VR. So the VR might be useless to me.
Yeah, you might just be looking at two images that are slightly similar, and your brain going, I'm not actually in this world. I'm smarter than this thing that's trying to trick my brain. Go away.
Yeah. This is really awesome, but I'm seeing two images. Good luck.
Yeah. Until
so
you can walk into a Best Buy and slap on an Oculus or a Morpheus or anything like that and try it out and see, okay, cool, I can experience this. But at the same time, like, it might be something that you enjoy watching, say, for like movies or television, but as soon as you hop into a game, you go, nope.
Oh God, I'm going to be puking.
Suddenly, I'm feeling motion
Yeah, right.
sickness when I normally don't. There's no way. Like, maybe puzzle games and stuff like that probably be okay, unless you're playing Portal, because fuck that.
Yeah, I can't imagine the feeling you must get falling like 60 stories in Portal.
Oh dear,
Just
no.
shooting a hole above and below you, and just continuously like, what is your brain going to think when it sees that happening to you? Like, oh my God, I want to try that now.
So that's the one thing. The other thing that it worries me, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it a lot, but okay, so let's just talk about the Morpheus very quickly. I don't have a PlayStation. I will never own a PlayStation. So if I did actually end up buying a VR system, it would probably be a PC-based VR system. And of the lot of PC-based VR systems, the Oculus is probably the best one to buy. But then Facebook rode in with all their money, and I don't really want to buy a product that has Facebook attached to it. Sorry.
Yeah,
you know, there's just
sorry,
too
Facebook
many...
listeners. I know there's
there's too many little things that could go wrong there, and I don't see a lot of people talking about that anymore. There was a lot of hue and cry about it when they did buy them out. You know,
Like,
how
a lot of people were like, "Oh, they sold out." And I was like,
"Yeah."
Look, I get why it's disappointing, but dude, come on, they're the front runners of basically like. If the people who invented smartphones tried to come out and base it on their own, they would never have gotten it off the floor, man. You need to have somebody that can reach the world. Right.
And admittedly, at this late juncture, there is no such thing as a noble and good and ethically reasonable company. So any company that bought them out, you'd have the same problems with.
It was the deal they took. I think was the best deal they could have ever gotten. Like if Activision bought them out, they would have changed everything about that company. They would have closed it down and renamed it.
It wouldn't be called Oculus. Yeah, it would be called.
The same people probably wouldn't be working on it. Like when Facebook bought them out, they were like, "Here's $2 billion. Finish your project. Here's a timeline." Which is a great deal for them.
Right. But having said that, the long term, like I know that Facebook don't really meddle with WhatsApp very much, but you never know. It's Facebook, you know.
Yeah.
Facebook wants their tentacles in everything.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be something that they'll do with it. Like I don't know what yet, but I'm sure they'll announce it in the future.
Well, I'm sure they'll have like VR. Facebook browser or something like that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Or even if it's just them inserting ads into things, all those little things worry me. So even though the Oculus is probably the best one of the lot, I would probably not go for that one.
The other main competitor is your HTC Vive by your good old friend Valve there, Gray. And do you have a spare room available? That is dedicated to VR, because that's what that requires.
Pretty much. So, like, you know, at this point for me, that it doesn't really matter. It will matter to some people, but at this point to me, the answer is no. I'm for those many and various reasons, I'm not going to get involved with VR.
Yeah.
So that's a long way of saying, nah, not really.
Do you mean not right away or never?
I would have to say not right away, because as VR spreads outward, there might be better companies to get involved with.
Sure.
And there might be open source companies to get involved with. And that would be better for everyone long term.
Yeah.
So, and the other thing is that as science gets better, my eyes might be able to be fixed to get to the point where, I can now see the VR and everything is okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be a thing that I would do immediately. There you go.
That's fair.
Okay, so the last thing is an opinion question. Which game did you play that you didn't like, but then you thought about it and it started growing on you? Who wants to go with that one? Because I think that was a Scooter's topic.
That was a Cody topic.
Oh, well, then you can start. Because you clearly thought
I
about this.
still haven't thought about a game actually.
Oh dear. Okay.
I kept hoping it would be Rise of the Tomb Raider when I thought about the topic, but it hasn't turned out to be that case.
Really.
I'll pick one that is actually the game that I have the most time spent on Steam, which will probably speak to the amount of how much I actually like the game, and it might surprise you how much I really despised it when I first started playing it, and that's Dota 2.
Okay.
I did not like this game for a lot of reasons. I am not good at RTS games. I was born without the ability to play them. As anyone who's ever tried to see me play an RTS game, that might have to be a Twinstiq stream one of these days. Cody tries to RTS.
Just Cody getting rolled.
You almost did, because you had Twin Peaks going for a while.
Yeah. No, that was...
Fine Arts. Fine Arts, and then Fine Arts died a quiet death.
Yeah. But Dota 2 was introduced to me by a friend of mine, and it was me and 4 other friends who also weren't very into it, and we just kept getting rolled by the computer. Though. But no, we all hated it, except for a friend who liked it.
No, but I mean that's what kind of helps is if you go into a thing like that with 4 other people who don't really like the thing, and you all sort of try it together, and maybe it clicks for you that way.
Well, it just we couldn't even beat the computer on easy. Like the only way we could beat them is if we made it so that they just stood there. Which is a mode that there is in Dota, which is very helpful when you're just trying to learn the systems, and I'm glad it exists. It's basically the enemy runs up to where they would normally attack, but they never do. It's literally for people who are idiots like me who don't know how to play games like this. And I never played a MOBA before.
Right.
And I went home that night just determined, because I never felt so defeated from playing a game before. And I'd suffered that much in StarCraft, in Warcraft before, but I didn't care to become better. But I knew that there was something that I was just not seeing, and so I remember staying up till probably 2 a.m. And I was playing Legion Commander. I had played so many matches, and I finally was able to come around. It was just me and 4 other computers against 5 other computers on the easiest difficulty. And I was reading tons of how to play it online. I read Purge's famous article, "Welcome to Dota 2, you suck," and that was the most helpful thing in the world.
That kind of explains the community too.
It
Welcome to Dota 2.
Dota community, any MOBA community is just toxic as all.
I hadn't even experienced the community yet.
I'm sorry,
but that guy's not very toxic. He was actually really nice. He was he basically titled that to be like, look, this is what you're going to hear a lot of. Just if it deters you, that's fine, but don't let it. Because this is a great game, and here's why. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And after playing so many rounds, I finally got it to that me and 4 other computers took down the ancient of the other computers. And it had been a very long time since I had been that gleeful playing a game before. And
had you never played Defense of the Ancients?
Nope.
The original Dota?
Yeah, the Warcraft
and all the other things that grew up out of it?
Nope, never played League. At that point anyway, never played Han or any of those. I'd only tried Dota 2, and I just kept playing it, and eventually I got to the point where I could play it. I still suck a lot, but
that's interesting.
I don't lose to the computer on easy anymore.
Right. Because it's interesting to me because you are sort of in the age group for that. And all your buddies must have been playing it.
Yep, in the dorms, everyone was like, "You guys play LoL?" And I was like, "What the hell is LoL?" And they were like, "Oh, let's check it out." League of Legends, and I was like, "That doesn't look like it's for me really at all." And it wasn't for like 2 years later.
What you
which
really
would have been a year after Dota 2 came out, where my friend was like, "Okay, let's try Dota," and I was like, "All right, I'll try Dota finally. Let me see what this is about." I think it was mainly the characters in it. I thought they all looked really cool.
Oh yeah,
and they
yeah.
had great lore to them and stuff, and and it was awesome that you got all 100+ heroes for just downloading the game. I was like, wow, I have access to everything. Like, I didn't really play any games like that. Like, I had played some free-to-play games before, but you didn't have access to the whole game. Like, that was so cool to me. And I ended up really liking it. I still really like it a lot. I don't play it. I haven't played it that much in a while, but yeah, I love watching it. I love playing, even though I'm terrible. But yeah, it's the game I've played the most at Steam in over 400 hours. So
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd say that qualifies this category question for me.
I had an old person reaction to LOL. When someone, and this is what you should have said to your buddies when they said, "Do you play LOL?" A buddy of mine who is much younger than me said to me, "Have you played LOL?" And I was like, "Is that laugh out loud?"
Yeah.
He's like, "You're an old person. Go away."
I almost said something like that when they said, "Well, what about Han?" And I almost went solo. It's like, I don't fucking know what you're talking
He
about.
played
man.
Heroes of New Earth for a little while, and he just didn't like it.
That's one of the few MOBAs I haven't tried. Now I've tried almost every. Like, that's the other thing about Dota 2. It made me fall in love with an entire genre that I would not have touched otherwise.
Right.
And I hated it at first, and I absolutely love the genre now.
From everything I hear and have read about Heroes of New Earth, is that it's not at all as well structured in terms of its payment model as Dota and all those games are. So
well, the biggest thing the reason I don't want to play it is mainly because those developers have created a new really good MOBA called Strife, which is Han in that every hero is free. Same with Dota.
Right.
It's very interesting. It's kind of like if League and Dota had a baby, but the games were as long as Heroes of the Storm matches, so they're like 15 to 20 minute lengths,
right,
which are great. They're just good fun to hop in for a quick minute and have some fun playing a MOBA. But Han, the reason I don't ever want to try it is because there's so little people who play now that the community is the most hostile community out there, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Because people who have never played it hop in, and as
wrong.
soon as you have 9 other people who know what they do and have been playing since the game came out, you have one new person. Now the team with the new person is just going to lose. And they don't want to lose because they like to play the game to win, because it's the competitive nature of games like that. And so it just makes them not ever want to teach new players how to play, which kind of sucks. But that's what happens when games get low numbers of players.
Yeah, it does.
I noticed that actually a lot with Space Marine Online.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, that's sad.
It's gotten down to a very small community.
Yeah.
And everyone that plays now knows just about every little exploit that they can find.
Yeah, and so new players go, nah.
Yeah, people come in and just can't do anything, and
Right.
And I'm a veteran player in that game. I have 300 hours in that game, and I'm useless basically. So, but
Strife is also very different in that Strife is kind of an over-the-shoulder MOBA. You play it in 3D.
I'm sorry, I meant that's Smite. Strife.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm thinking of
Strife is top down. Smite is very good though. Smite is fun. I like Smite.
Okay.
And Smite has the closest model in terms of fairness, I think, behind Dota 2 and Strife. You can spend $30, you get all heroes and future heroes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good, because most of these games, heroes are like $5 to $6.
Right.
And the only two games where you get them all for free are Strife and Dota. And so Smite's like, just one-time fee just to support us, and you'll have every hero you can ever imagine.
Right.
I'm like, that's a good system. Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm is the most expensive and in the most grindiest.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Which was pretty shocking after playing League, which I thought was really grindy and really expensive. And then Blizzard was like, look at me. And I was like, wow.
I'm extra
It's a good thing this is an alpha, because they'll change that. Nope.
And then they didn't.
They didn't change a thing about any of that. Yeah. They made it worse.
Right. So your experience was Dota 2. Schoolers, do you have any experience first?
Path of Exile.
Okay.
Ooh.
I played a Path of Exile beta. I thought it was awful. I really hated it. Just everything about it. I hated it. And then, much like with Marvel Heroes, Cody and Aaron were here one day and said, "Hey, check this out." And it was Path of Exile, and I played it, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
Just the way it was developed from beta to gold made the difference. It was very good.
Yeah, I hear it was a very different game in a beta.
Yeah, it was.
Which is probably the case with Marvel Heroes as well. From the sound of it. So
yeah. Crafting in the beta was really bad.
Right.
Because the way Path of Exile works is the way your character upgrades items, so as to find scrolls and then turn the scrolls in, and then that was your upgrade. and it's
Right.
still kind of like that. But the way it was in the beta was just terrible. It was just not. It wasn't fun. It was
And
boring because nothing
Didn't they
changed.
also in the beta have like chance to failure? So you'd make
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, I remember that. I remember people telling me about it, and I was horrified.
yeah.
So
It wasn't.
you
It wasn't fun. Yeah, I just
right.
didn't like it. But yeah, and then when it went gold, and I saw it, and I went, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then kind of like Marvel Heroes, I played it just
Yeah.
like incessantly for weeks.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Well,
good.
that's interesting, but I wonder if I didn't phrase the question maybe in how I would want it to. Is there a game though that was the same state where you started playing it and you just thought maybe it wasn't for you, and then kept trying it, and then it somehow won you over? Like Dota wasn't in alpha when I tried it. It wasn't actually. It wasn't.
No,
It wasn't actually bad when I played it. I just didn't enjoy.
That's more or
doing
less
it.
my best example. I don't know that I've got another example of anything like that.
Hmm.
Because if I didn't like it, I just didn't play it anymore.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But you're at the point now where, for you, that's just how it is. If you're not going to be into a game, it's not
Yeah.
worth persevering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, it was okay. So, let me just set this up for people who don't know me very well. I'm old, and I play a lot of adventure games. That's basically what I do. I used to play a lot of very old, hardcore RPGs as well. But as I've gotten older, my threshold for hardcore has diminished a lot because, like, to play a game like, let's say, the original Heroes of Might and Magic, or one of those games, or just Might and Magic itself, the Dungeon Crawler, the level of failure that you can endure in those games is actually punishing. You can get down to the last boss, and you can be all set up to beat the last boss, and then some RNG thing will like kill you.
Yeah, like every
outright.
5 minutes while I was trying to replay through Fallout 1, and I just kept
Yeah, I was
shooting
just
myself in
thinking
the
that.
foot and critting myself for 100% damage.
Right. So as I've gotten older, my propensity for hardcore games has gone down. I can still play them, but I gotta play them really slowly. The same is true of things like platformers. I am not good at platformers. I don't have the hand-eye coordination because of my eyesight to actually manage and function playing a platformer unless it's a really slow platformer. Platformers I've enjoyed have been things like Blackthorn, which is really slow. I have enjoyed things like, to an extent, things like Heart of Darkness, that kind of thing, because they're slow. They're kind of plodding platformers where all of the jumps are very considered, and you're going to think about them before you do them. So about 2 years ago, I started hearing about Shovel Knight, and I liked the character, but I didn't think the game was ever going to click for me because it's a platformer. And then I started playing it, and I immediately did not like it initially because it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy either. Once you get to level 3 or 4 of Shovel Knight, it ramps up the difficulty a bit. It's not Plague Knight difficulty, but it is difficult. And I thought at that point, I put the controller down, and I was like, I don't think I like this very much.
Yeah.
And then I went away, and I thought about it for a while, and I thought, you know what? I actually want to see how this works out. So I picked up the controller, and I started playing it. And as I played it more, it grew on me more. Until the point where I was like, this is actually one of the best games I played in that year, just for how it worked out. So there you go. It's opened me up to things like Banjo-Kazooie, which I would never have considered before. I have gone back and sort of looked at old platformers that I can try. A buddy of mine has recommended Clockwork Knight, which I'm going to try, but I've got to find a system for it before I can try it. And it's great now to be able to have conversations with him about these games because I never could before. Because I can see now some of what he was saying. There's still games I'm never going to be able to play. I mean, I tried. I got a friend's console, and I borrowed his Sonic, original Sonic, Sega Sonic, and I tried playing that game, but it was too fast, and I couldn't. I got through World 1-1, the Green Hills.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's too fast, I'm sorry. And because after that level, what ends up happening with Sonic is that it branches out into multiple paths. So you can go,
Yeah.
like, if you're in the level, you can go on the top of the level, you can go along the bottom of the level, and basically what that means is you'll get a different ring score at the end. And if you're really smart and you know what you're doing, you can maybe do both routes. But you got to be fast because that game has a timer as well.
Yeah.
And those games I still can't play, but I can appreciate them more now as a result of playing Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
So Shovel Knight was a good experience.
Super Bunny Hop, on the topic of Sonic, actually did a really great videos comparing the first levels of every Sonic game.
Yeah.
It's actually a really interesting video. I'll link it for you guys in our chat here.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It's very intriguing. It's cool because he talks about all the things you do, like the level design, the pathing, and the way the mechanics work with the levels. It's really intriguing just in a stance of looking at how platformers work, and how it changed very dramatically from game to game in just one franchise. It's really cool. But yeah, I've actually been wanting to pick up Shovel Knight badly too, and I'm usually not much of a platformer guy. I like platformers, okay, I just don't play them as often as I probably would like to. But I'm also
whatever you do, don't pick up Volgar. It's great. It's a very cool game, but I still haven't beat the first boss. I've only been there twice.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I get antsy if I can't beat a game, which is why I still haven't picked up really a platformer since Super Meat Boy, because I still haven't beaten that game.
Oh yeah.
And if I start a game where I really like and I want to finish it and I can't finish it because I'm just not that great at it, I just I just want to beat it.
Yeah.
And Super Meat Boy is god.
That's why, I mean, like some of these games where, especially old RPGs where there wasn't a lot of plot, but there was just enough plot for you to be invested. I would go, okay, so there's come a point now where I keep repeatedly dying to the same guy. I'm gonna God mode. It will be better.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Ah, goodness. Right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
No, I think I got it.
Yes, maybe.
My beard itches.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's not the game. Nice try, though. Okay,
I've invented this game where I scrub left and then right and try to make it sound like it's the Mario theme song.
All right.
Okay.
Sounds like some boredom has set in.
No, I'm just trying to fucking be a dick, I guess.
That's fine. So I think that at this point we can call it a podcast.
I think
We
so.
can call it a podcast if you want to. I call it 50 Shades of Unprofessionalism.
Yeah.
There we go. I agree with
The
that.
end.
The end.
Thank you so much to everyone listening. Before we go, let's just talk about what we're going to be releasing soon. I have an article coming this Monday, which is basically about things I'm looking forward to. It's a big article, so if you are curious about the things I'm curious about, you may want to check it out. Screwloose, have you got anything in the works for us?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm sure something will probably pop up. Excuse me. I'm sure something will probably pop up because normally it does. But offhand, nothing's planned.
Yoda?
I just released my review for Super Hot. You can go check that out on the website. I talk about the game and whether or not you should pick it up and what's good about it and what's bad about it, because that's how reviews work. You should go read that. It's a pretty good review. I liked it. The game's fun. Go pick it up because it's also a good game.
The people suing Jim Sterling, you should be listening to this because that's how reviews work.
That's how reviews work.
Yeah. If you start reading the review, you might actually think that I'm going to shit all over the game because I talk poorly about some of the systems that don't hold up very well, but by the end of it, I do recommend the game because sometimes that's how reviews work.
Yeah.
Digital Homicide. Fucking
what a
idiots.
twist!
What a twist! I just spoiled the whole review for
it's
you
almost
guys.
like M. Night Shyamalan wrote that.
As far as stuff coming up, there is a pretty big Blu-ray release coming out in about 2 weeks, so I might start writing something.
Oh yeah.
That. So if you don't know what that is, then my name is a hint. There you go.
Right, there we go. Screwloose wrote a very good article about Marvel Heroes. So we talked
Yes,
about it
very
at
good
length.
Marvel Heroes.
If you're at all interested in Marvel Heroes, go and read that because it was well worth my time to read it. So
Yep.
there you go.
And then spam the comments section with a link at Grey Wolf, and then just underneath that a link to the download page,
Yeah.
so that he'll start playing with us.
Yeah.
And maybe we will record.
Everyone who does that, I will send them $1.
But it will be a monopoly. It will be a monopoly dollar because you spend that money.
I never said it was a monopoly dollar. That is all I'll say about the kind of dollar it is.
We are Twinstiq, which is Twinstiq with a Q.com. And thank you so much for joining us for today's podcast. Yoda, say goodbye.
Goodbye, and thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Scooter, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you soon.